So there seems to be a little bit of a misconception about yoga. It seems to be that a lot of us understand yoga as a physical practice, as a means to achieve a great, fit, flexible body. Well, that's not exactly the case, though it may help us. That is what we're looking for. The aim of yoga is reaching Samadhi, the communion with our higher self, however, with God, however you define God, with the universal consciousness. Now, there are 8 limbs of yoga, to the end result of yoga, according to Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. The Yoga Sutras, so you know, were written at least 1700 years ago and are made up of 195 aphorisms, sutras, or words of wisdom. So yoga, so you know, is much more than simply the poses, the yoga poses or asanas that we practice in different yoga studios here in the West. The poses are simply the third limb of those 8 limbs of yoga mentioned before. They are part of a process that goes from the external to the internal, from the gross to the subtle, from the individual to the universal. And these steps are, briefly, 1. The yamas, or ethical guidelines. 2. The niyamas, or personal guidelines. Then comes 3. The asanas, or physical practice. And then 4. Pranayama, or regulation of the breath. 5 is pratyahara, regulation or restraint of the senses. 6. Dharana, or one-pointed focus. 7. Dhyana, concentration or meditation. And finally, 8. Samadhi, the complete absorption of the individual self in the universal self. Now, for a complete description or details about these 8 limbs of yoga, there are plenty of books and other videos that you may refer to. For this discussion, however, I will concentrate on at least on the last 4 of these steps, that is, on restraining the senses, one-pointed focus, concentration or meditation, and reaching Samadhi, and how these steps may be achieved during a sexual experience. So how do we achieve this? Well, there's one practice called Omen, or orgasmic meditation. During this practice, safe practice, without it being sexual, the female partner, or one of the female partners, lies on her back in what is called a nest. There are more details on this online as well. I can get you those details later on if needed. Now, in this safe environment, the female partner, lying comfortably on the ground, not a bed, gets the top left quadrant of her clitoris very gently stroked by her partner, completely clothed. Now, the stroking is done with one finger, with proper lubrication, and very, very gently, as if stroking her eyelids. And it is done for 15 minutes. There's no other caressing or other type of sexual interaction done in orgasmic meditation. And it does not necessarily need to be done by a partner. It may be done by a friend, if you have such a good friend. Now, I have found that this practice may be done with slight variations for men, or 2 men as well, though the creators of the original method will say otherwise. With a little bit of ingenuity, we may find a few variations on how us men can get our sexual genitalia, or very specific parts of our male genitalia, very lightly touched, caressed, or stroked in different ways by a partner. For these variations, however, it might have to be done by someone who is more than simply a friend, as it may be a little bit more sexual than the original orgasmic meditation method. Now, how do we link the last 4 limbs of yoga into this practice? I'm glad you asked. Pratyahara, or regulation or restraint of the senses, does not necessarily mean not paying attention to our senses. It means to focus our senses. It means to use all of our senses, if necessary, to achieve complete focus. It means to be there at that time, in that moment. It means leaving aside everything else. This may clearly be achieved during the gentle stroking action mentioned before. With the right ambience, the right gentle partner, this may be done. If there is love involved, or lots of trust, it might even be much, much better. The next step, or dharana, the one-pointed focus or restraint of the mind, can be achieved then, with eyes closed, laying down comfortably, feeling very secure, comfortable, safe, simply focusing the delicious sensation. We may easily achieve that one-pointed focus. There is nothing in our minds, no one thought, nothing else, not one other sensation, just us, the sense of security, safety, of letting go of everything else. and of experiencing the sensation we are experiencing. Nothing else. We are concentrated exclusively in one point. Dhyana, concentration or meditation, is what comes next. When our senses are not distracted, and when we are focused on one point and one point alone, we are able to achieve a connection with the object of our meditation, with the experience that we're having. So we are not only perceiving the object, we are continuously communicating with it. Once we have established that communication, in this case, through the intense sensations that we are feeling, focus, concentrated in one place alone, once we succeed at becoming completely absorbed in something, our minds becomes one with it. Again, in the experience at hand, the orgasmic meditation or its variations, we do become one with it. This is the complete absorption, the lack of separation, the union. This is the goal of yoga. This is the state of Samadhi. And please know that the state of Samadhi and all the steps that lead to it may be experienced by the person who is doing the stroking as well. He or she may also tune in to the energy, to the higher energy that is around us, that is in the body of the partner. He or she may focus the senses, the mind, establish a connection with the object of his or her meditation, with the sensations that he or she is feeling with that moment. He or she may also reach Samadhi together. And one other thing, as in yoga or meditation or in any other endeavor in life, this is not done to achieve a certain thing, to achieve orgasm or one point in meditation. Please be very patient, very kind, and very understanding with yourself and with your partner, of course. Please let go of any expectations. This is done with the goal of being completely present with that moment, with the energy, with your partner, the focus, the meditation, the mind-boggling orgasms, the state of being one with the universe, that shall come by itself. Namaste.